Hi, and welcome back to another episode in our journey to become Chateau du Cavignac, which is supposed to be the finest producer of Bordeaux wines in Lagos, Nigeria. But we began producing cheap wines with terrible quality, and in the last episode, we began with R&D to increase this quality. So in the last episode, we went through 2 years opening Helsinki retail and beginning our R&D journey. That'll take a while, and it's very expensive, but we did increase our revenue by 25%. Seems like a deceleration from 174 to 90 to 25%, but the revenue per year increased by a healthy 35 million. So that is a very good growth, especially as you grow bigger, it's harder to continue growing at the same proportion. Gross margin increased by one slim percentage point. That's basically just a little bit of optimization. But selling expenses increased by 2 percentage points, G&A by about like 5 percentage points, and our EBITDA, of course, decreased by those 6 percentage points. So there's a little bit to be analyzed in why our expenses increased. As for non-operating profitability, we went through a negative 4.5 million. That's an increase versus our sales in terms of percentage, and that's coming basically from our loan interests. Makes sense. So that is our net profitability. When we look at selling expenses, we had an increase in salaries to 7.2%, especially in absolute terms, but that's okay. We're increasing the size of our business. As for ads and PR, basically advertising, we diluted a bit, but we're keeping that scale of about 6 to 7 percentage points. And this is in line with our strategy. As we're opening a new city, we have to advertise our new brand and we lose a little bit of efficiency. Hopefully, over time, we'll be able to decrease this simply by increasing share with the same brand that's already established, but also because I hope to decrease these investments as we increase the quality of our products through R&D. Training increased a little bit to 2.9% and also to 4.9 million. And this is a healthy investment. I think I will like to increase this over time. I had to decrease it a little bit as we're being crunched for cash in the last episode. But we will have to see how this performs. So that is selling expenses. And when we look at G&A, or general and administrative, we have overhead that's increasing slightly. We lost a little bit of efficiency. That makes sense. And R&D came up with a whopping 4.4 percentage points, 7 million bucks per year. And this is necessary so we can increase our quality. So not much we can do here. I think this is an investment for the long term, and hopefully this will pay a decrease in advertising as well as an increase in pricing. As the quality improves, we can start to charge more. So that's the profitability side. As for our balance sheet, we've got 15 million in cash and 75 million in debt. That means a net debt of about 60 million with the last 12-month operating profit or EBITDA of 10.9 million. That means a leverage of 5.4 times. This is an increase, but that makes sense. We began new businesses. We decreased our profitability at the same time. So this number had to deteriorate. But we're not at least at 11% as we were before. So that's a step in the right direction. So going back to the business, there's one thing that disturbs me is the size of these labels here. Apparently, as we produce two technologies, I think we do not get this fancy percentage label that we get in our other businesses, 32%, 100%, 54%. So I had to just rename this to be a little bit more concise. I think that's a little bit cleaner. Captex. So we are producing our technology over time, and that is one route that we have to go. Now, one thing that I have to make sure is that we continue improving the efficiency of our retail businesses. Efficiency is basically looking at our one store that's paying for all the advertising. This is the one that improves the brand for our products, increases its overall rating, gives it competitiveness, while the other stores don't have to pay for that. They actually get to sell more in terms of volume because of the second sales unit, and we'll have to dilute these advertising expenses. So speaking of these retail stores, let me take a quick look at our my firms. We only have 2 stores here in Lagos. We have 3 stores in Rio, and we have currently only 1 store in Helsinki, and that's the one that's paying all the advertising. But the good news is that brand is increasing, 17 for grape juice, 15 for wine, with only 100,000 in spending. If we look at our overall spending in our corporate details, advertising, you can see that Helsinki only spends 100, Lagos 185, and Rio spends 202. And the reason for this is that when you look at the world map, Helsinki has the lowest population. So advertising is a little bit easier when the population is lower. Now, look at that real wage in Lagos. It's up to 40, almost 43. That's curious. Maybe there's an excess in construction and investments there. But the first step, however, is to, of course, as I mentioned, begin investing more in this retail side of Helsinki. I think there's some space to be constructed. 1 store was able to build 50% of share in grape juice and 1/3, more or less, of the wine share. But that is to mention that we have some competition from Eternal Motion, a superior quality product. But brand is making up for our lack of quality. Hopefully R&D will also help with that. So when we think about where we want to build the next store in Helsinki, I would say it's about roughly here when we look at the map. It's somewhere in this investment bank sector of the city. So let's go ahead and build a retail store. I think I'll actually duplicate this one. Maybe worth just the loss of that advertising unit. It's not very efficient, but it's easier. Got some. Actually don't have cash. So okay, let's go to F11. Take another 7 million. I will take that. Thank you very much. 22 million. Now I hope we can duplicate it. How much will this cost? Actually, quite a bit. But we can build wherever you want. And 57 rating, that's pretty good. If we want to risk it, I think I can because we have a positive revenue. Positive profit of 50 million. And I'll swap this with a sales unit. I think I'll actually sell grape juice. I think that's the harder one to sell. So the first store is named Cavmart Helsinki Stock Exchange. This will be Cavmart Helsinki. Helsinki. What is this? Investment banks, tennis courts. I like that. Tennis. Let that trickle in for a bit. Get that training going on. This store here is still training. Got some very fine levels of 5 and 4, but the other ones are at 2 and 1. Apparently, training improves the quality of your staff, improves the more they sell. So that's quite a conundrum. The more you sell, the more you train, the more you train, the more you sell. Okay, so going back to our industries, we have corn going on. This is quite a liability for us now, as we don't have the production of corn syrup, much less of cola. And I don't think I'll have the money that soon to be able to take advantage of that. But I will mention that I do want some more training in our grape juice company. We seem to have a lot of demand here. Maybe that's because our new store just built up and we are selling only to ourselves. As for the wines, we are actually going to look at the corporation details. We look at actually corporations, business relations. We've lost our year-to-date trade with Power Company. They are not purchasing our wines anymore. We are internally selling them, so that's okay. The prices, I think, are pretty fair for an internal business. As for the external business, which is going through the warehouse, maybe I could decrease this a bit and try to incentivize a little bit of the business partnership. As for output, it seems to be limited, so I'll give that a little bit more capacity. And I don't think I had to increase the inventories for now. So grapes, they're coming out 39. Corn is actually coming out at 30. Right, grapes also at 30. But the products are still stuck at 20, at least for the whatever's left here in the sales unit. So that is a heavy liability, but I don't feel like it's worth dismantling it for now, even though I don't have the conditions of purchasing whatever I need to produce cola. So that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at real, make sure that our seaports are not squeezing us for profitability again. Do that every so often, like right here. Negative margin, can't do that. As for wines, how are we doing in competition? Well, competitors, looks like 10, looks like for 11, because we have superior combination of quality plus brand. We have actually better quality already and better brand. That means about $1 extra per unit. But I'll actually try to increase this a little bit and try to squeeze those extra cents. And let's see if the same applies to grape juice. So brand, we are superior towards local competitors, and quality, we are also superior. Overall rating, even more so, even charging more. So I'm actually going to increase this, increase our overall rating, 58. I think that's pretty good. And let's go over to Legos, make sure that these stores are not losing much as well. So let's take a look. We've got some local competition here. Power company is selling the imports from the seaport. They have a better quality but zero brand. Makes sense. You don't want to advertise the products that someone else is making. So we're able to maintain a very superior overall rating. Try to increase this a bit. And then let's go back to grape juice to see how this is faring. So 65 versus 50. Our quality is superior already. Brand is also pretty good. And our price is able to be a little bit higher. I'll increase that a little bit, not so little bit. And I think that is going to be helpful. As for cakes, we are selling for profit. That's good. Chewing gum as well. And least but not last, let's take a look at Helsinki. So we've got our advertising going. Wine has building up brand. Sales have exploded because of that. And let's take a look. Maybe this is actually because the warehouse started to double its capacity. But we do have competition from the imports with superior quality, of course, but zero brand, just as before. But I see that we can actually put a little bit more price here and try to increase our profitability as well. As for grape juice, we're actually inferior in quality. We have different prices. That's very interesting. I think I do not want either one or the other. Keep a superior overall rating, 36 versus 34. That's fair. So now that we got those two adjusted, the second store is starting to sell more. See the quantity skyrocketing. And just make sure that the prices on our extra products, such as canned soup and chicken, they're not really far off. Now I do have one disturbance, which is we are selling these products. It's demanding a little bit of maintenance. I do want to replace them. Hopefully soon we'll be able to produce cola and canned corn. We do have the corn to produce both canned corn and corn syrup for the cola. As for the mining, we still have the source of aluminum. They're almost breaking even. That's good news because I do want to have that availability over time. And I think it may be a good first step to start producing this. So let's just wait for time to pass a little bit. We've got grape juice and wine. Our R&D for grape juice, that's a 1-year cycle, and wine as well. That's interesting. So that means our wine is now going from Tech 53 to 69. As for grape juice, from 38 to 49. That means that our wines that are currently selling for a quality of 32 will be selling for 41. That's an increase of 9. I'll have to go through again all those prices. As soon as the supply chain starts to trickle out all that old inventory, we're going to have a little bit more profitability. And the profitability starts to show right here. We've got 21 million in LTM last 12-month profitability with a 17.8 million in cash reserves. That's very fun because I can start to think if I should invest in our canned corn. Now, canned corn, actually, this does make sense to this kind of style factory does resemble canned corn. And perhaps I should just build it right here close to the farm. Then I'll be able to build a second one plus a warehouse if I ever do need so. So I'm going to go with that. So Chateau, what kind of wine label produces canned corn? Chateau du Cornignac in Indusco. And let's produce. So we had, when we think about canned corn, see food, canned corn, 2 inputs. So let's go ahead and build that model. So, oh, what inventory? It's a purchasing unit, sorry. Spent a little money there. Aluminum in one, corn in the other. And actually, I'm going to put the sales units down here at the bottom. For wine, I use that style factory. Do that again. I don't think I'll invest in training yet, but we got the industry levels coming up. The products are available. Let's begin with internal sales. We have plenty of supermarkets to supply. So what shall we replace? Which are the products that we are importing that produce the least profit? It's about 4K from cakes, about 30K from chewing gum. I think I made my mind. Is that canned corn? Let that trickle out, and as soon as that inventory is out, I'm going to begin the advertising. And the same goes, of course, with store number 2 in Lagos. Which actually brings me to the conclusion that perhaps I should actually bring in a 3rd store. So got those going. Let's go over to Rio. Start with store number 1. Why not? That's the one that has the advertising. Which product here gives me the least profit? Detergent is actually going down, but headache pills, that's giving me too much of a headache. So let's go to all cities, suppliers from Chateau, and corn. Over time, that will allow me to advertise as well. What are the headache pills? Yeah, of course, just remembered. Don't sue me. Canned corn. And when I do this swap, it actually takes the inventory that's in this purchasing unit, it just throws it away, and it comes in as a write-off. So when you see that line of write-off in our P&L, that's what it means. And finally, our 2 stores in Helsinki. Is it fair enough to, even though chicken is going down, profitability, is it fair to assume that canned corn, I could supply with my own canned corn? I don't think it makes sense to sell 2 brands of canned corn. Good. Now, let's take a quick look at Lagos. Time has trickled by. We began purchasing our own canned corn for 26 cents plus, 63 cents plus 26 in freight, total 89. We do not have a set price for that, do we? Wine, grape juice, canned corn. No, we do not. So we need to let time trickle by. Speed 4. Slow advancing. What I could do is like, yeah, if I want to get rid of these cakes, let's go down to the bare minimum. Get that going. Get that stock out of the way. Now, actually, got our canned corn already available here in Rio. Let's go to store number 1 first of all. Hopefully, it's available here as well. It is. Then we can start advertising for it. And another 200,000 advertising expenses are going to explode. As for quality, we are bringing in a rating of 17. How are we able to sell this? It's amazing. Local competitors are 47 and 52. So I do require a decrease in price for this. 46. Pretty fair. Okay. That'll improve over time. I accept that. Canned corn going in here as well. Are we equal in prices in all 3 stores? We are. Take a look at Helsinki. There it is. The products are in. Let's start advertising. Another 100,000 advertising. But we definitely need to decrease this. 43 rating. There we go. Demand is starting to pop up in our store. 1 product. And this is the total of the city. So we have a pocket of 13 million to try to reach. Hopefully we'll get a good chunk of that. Rating 43 versus 35. Maybe I went a little bit too far. 37. Okay. Remember, brand will improve over time. We've got our 2 stores working for that product. And let's take a quick look at Legos, which was still not ready, but now it is. So let's take a look. Selling absolutely 0. Local competitors are 45. We're at 12. And this is a very price-sensitive market. I can actually go very aggressive here because we have no freight costs to pay. 48, 0 brand. As soon as the brand starts building up, we'll be very competitive. So look at that. As soon as I swap that price, it went in. Now, do we want a 3rd store for Lego? So I had to check if our market share in our products is high. Kind of is. I'm not sure there will be space for another store. So I'll actually refrain from that for now. As for our factory, we're only selling for internal clients. We're not yet in the profit zone, even though we are selling at a healthy price. I'll actually open this to all competitors. We've got some huge idle processes. Oh, not investing training yet. And as for corn, we have only that 1 customer. Maybe we'll have a second for corn syrup to produce that corn syrup for cola. But we are getting there. Chateau du Cornignac. Cornignac. Cornignac is the name of our brand of canned corn. The quality is still at 30. We have 1 drained folk. It's a good sign. Corn is already leaving at 30 quality. That's good because the inputs here are very sensitive to the quality of corn. 60% versus 40 of the production technology. Canned corn, we are researching this. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And hopefully as time evolves, we'll be able to improve the quality and overall dilute costs as we can increase prices. And we have 1 supermarket for sale here. I do not want that too close to our other store. It's always interesting to see the opportunities. Let's take a look at Rio went on. What's this? It's a convenience store. I don't think that serves us. We saw that in the beginning of the game. And we have a supermarket here in the middle of nothing, but it does have 2 floors, actually 3 floors. That means that I'll have to have 12 products to sell. I don't have 12 products to sell. But even this store that's producing all this, paying for all this advertising, 202,000 times 3 products, it's almost break even. That's very amazing. And that explains why our profitability is reaching 29 million here, 33 million in cash. We're at a very fortunate situation. Let's take a look at our Helsinki businesses. So we've got one that's about minus 150,000 and another one that's at 0. So we're still not there, but brand is still picking up. Over time, I think our profitability in Helsinki will improve that overall rating. Gonna do that right now. Make sure that the yellow bar is still showing up. As for grape juice, also increase a bit. Make sure that yellow bar is actually not there yet, so I've got to go down. I'll actually do that right here. There we go. Apparently that's where I can go, and we got our new round of technologies. So now that we got our new round of technologies, we could perhaps flirt with the opportunity of starting creep towards our cola factory. 30 million in LTM profit. That's very healthy. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And 38 million in cash. So we have some dry powder to invest into the new businesses. Let's just take a quick round through the prices so that we enter the next episode at least a little bit calibrated, like 92. Wow, that's huge quality. It's 44 in quality. It's almost on par with local competitors. And that's 44 at the store. That's a current inventory. If you look at the industry, we're producing wine at 32 plus 20, it's 52. So things are actually going to improve over time as soon as that new product, reaches the stores. So let's take a quick look at R&D. So all these technologies, they went through another cycle. I'm actually very happy with profitability now. So what I'm actually going to do is be a little bit more aggressive and try to take another step with these products. Instead of going for 1 year up to 79 tech, let's go up with wine. Go for a 2-year cycle, just as the other ones. Let's match them up, let's synchronize them. That'll go up to 97 instead. That's very, very good. So grape juice is another one I need to change to 2 years. Instead of 56, grape juice for 2 years will take us to 69. Corn syrup, 74. And canned corn, 74. And our cola, 78. So if we can reach these very healthy levels of technology, then we can start to actually sell our products with way more ease without depending so much on advertising. So with that said, I would like to take a quick look as our product quality actually reached a little bit low mid-tier level. I'm going to take a quick look at the products and see if our brand rating is at 85, the awareness at 59, and loyalty at 26. So perhaps there is an opportunity to decrease advertising. I'll come up to each of these cities and decrease our investments to about 150,000 in Lagos. Let's come up to Rio. I'll put this down. Let's take a, first of all, make sure that it's the same here. 22 in brand loyalty. That's good. So let's come over here and decrease our investments to about 180,000. This will damage perhaps our canned corn. Maybe I shouldn't do this. So I'm actually dialed that back in Lagos instead of 150, well, 180 to 150. I think is okay. So let's go back to Helsinki and do the same here. So instead of 100, this brand picking up 44, 34 awareness, 10 loyalty. That sounds pretty fair. So I'll decrease this to about, not much, to about 90,000. I don't want to be too aggressive here. But our products are selling very well. Their levels are increasing. Canned corn had a little bit of evolution to do. So excellent. I'm very pleased. Another thing I would like to look at, canned corn decreased its overall experience as soon as we swap the products. So that's something that will force us to actually increase training again. I'll do that quick adjustment here throughout all the stores. I don't want to be level 2 store in Lagos. We're selling our canned corn. I have to do the same. Oh, actually, 7 here. Same product. So apparently, when you keep the same product but you change supplier, that's okay. You don't lose experience. So in the case of Rio, stores here don't require more training. So I can decrease this to about 25. I want to zero it out. Store number 1, store number 2, and let's come into store number 3 as well. But this is actually 7, 9s, 5s. Can't go down as much, but I can decrease it a little bit. I think that's okay. And then finally, Helsinki. Canned corn still requires the train. So that's one thing. The other thing, let's take a quick look at our overall prices. Have we any sales here to external clients? We do not. In the warehouse, apparently it's on internal sale for some reason. I'll allow that to go up, to go open. I'll charge a little more. If someone ever does purchase it, I will require the price. And yeah, so canned corn. Take a look at the overall manufacturing, supply and demand. Ooh, we don't have enough supply. I'm going to try to put this up to level full training. We'll see if that will be enough. Still unsure, but things seem to be okay here. Let's give it a little bit of time. As our grapes, we're already at level 3. That means 40 quality grapes. That's the reason why our products are actually improving. So we're already reaching the industry. So that's why the wines have improved a lot. Same goes for grape juice, although in a little bit of a lesser intensity. The demand here seems to be peaking out. So we are actually producing at 100% in all 3 units. Sales units seem to be a little bit okay, but that's because they're not receiving enough product. I think for the next episode, we may be forced to produce double the grape juice, may be forced to increase capacity of the canned corn. Our 2 industries on the profits, our warehouse on the profits, is helping to pay a little bit for these R&D centers. And yeah, so Helsinki could receive a 3rd storm, maybe even Lagos. But for now, I think we're pretty okay with what we've accomplished. So when we think about what we've accomplished in terms of our goals, we're actually 10% already. That means we're at about 110 million of personal wealth. And when we think about the corporations, we've got business relations. Treasure Pit now that we're purchasing their aluminum. I actually want to check their aluminum mine. Have I helped them reach profitability? I have. Good for them. Because I don't want them to close that firm. So going back to the corporations, business relations, he's already sold 21 million in wines to a power company. No more. And we're up to about 2 million in overall lifetime trade with Treasure Pit. That's pretty good. 30-year charts. Let's take a look at our firm overviews. Actually, let's go to our corporate details. Look at our firms here. So we're actually up to 38 million in cash. Of course, you can see that down here. Annual revenue 215 million. That's an evolution. Profit to 30 million. We're about 50% of the top player. We can see that here. So revenue and profit are about 50%. The top revenue is wind speed, even though it doesn't have that great of a revenue. A profit. It's only 9 million profit for 400 million in revenue. The number 1 profit, who is it? Circle Cross. What do you even do? You have half the revenue, way higher profit. What do you do? Let's see. Corporation, corporate details. Circle Cross, diversified. What products do you have? Talk about the toiletries. I see household products. Very high profitability. And look at that compact camera. It's a new product, new technology, a revenue of 8 million, a profit of 7 million. That's quite admirable. So let's go back to our case. We're going to take a quick look at our products. Wine, 44%. Grapes at 81%. Look at that. I didn't expect that. And 35 grape juice. Of course, it's just a price adjustment within our own supply chain. I could totally decrease the profitability of grapes to increase these other 2 products. But it's interesting to know. I was already charging a very low price for them. As for the other products, we've got corn starting up with a very healthy profitability as we verticalize it. Canned corn could improve, but we also have no brand here, so we've got to improve this over time. And let's take a quick look at our charts. So revenue continues evolving, as well as operating profit and net profit, and our net worth as well. As for graphs 2, cash is starting to explode. We've never had this much cash. As for, I believe, debt, I'll believe that this is also going up. Actually, not that much. So that's a good sign. So we're passing a little bit more time. We're in May of 2000. I have some weird tendency of always ending the episodes on May. It's a curious coincidence, if I may say so myself. So it's a 2-year episode approximately. That didn't increase that much. Cash did. That opens doors for us. And let's take a quick look at R&D expenses. This last point is always distorted. Take a look at this point here. This is where we truly are. Because assets are increasing, salaries, advertising increasing, however, not as our revenues. Well, it actually kind of is. Maybe there's an opportunity here. We already decreased a little bit of that in this episode. Training also stabilized. And a little bit of write-offs as we swapped all those canned corns. But I think we are progressing pretty well. So let's take a quick look at our balance sheet. Our loans are at 82 million. This is increasing. Cash as well. And our income statement, our LTM operating profit, our last year was of 30 million. I think that's a healthy increase versus the previous episode. We'll see at the beginning of the next episode. And when we look at net profit, we're at last month, 27 million in the last 12 months. That is very healthy, and we'll see how this performs in our next episode. We table all these up into our P&L. Technology for the products in production, we're at 52, 46, and 64. This is pretty healthy. I do have over 30 cola as well and corn syrup. Very healthy levels. Once we begin producing these products, actually once we begin selling cola, which means we've got to produce cola and produce corn syrup, we will have a very healthy quality, even though quality is not that important for this product. As for advertising, we decreased spending overall. We'll see if we can maintain that through loyalty. We are got our brands. Nothing much to say here. Dominance. We are third in retail. This is quite an evolution. And fifth in manufacturing, also an evolution. And surprising, beginning with farming at fourth. That's nice. Beverages continue dominating purely. And for food, we're actually second for canned corn. This is disappointing, but we also just began, so that's okay. And food, fourth, that's actually quite impressive when you think about all the food products that are easy to make and sell in this game. These are the rankings. And yeah, cities, let's take a quick look at economic graph. So Lagos continues increasing its real wage to 44. It's concerning. It increases our expenses. It'll decrease our profitability. And let's take a look. Rio is stabilized at 61 and Helsinki at 85. I actually think I never saw this index decrease in any game yet. We'll see if that ever happens. So thank you very much. Hopefully you'll be with us in our next episode as we begin improving our overall profitability and dominance of the world through the Chateau du Cavignac. Why not?